Hello, everyone. We're 2 minutes late today. It is 5:32, and we are here on Tuesday, May 14th, for the regular City Council meeting for the City of Coppell. There is a quorum present, so I'm going to call the meeting to order, and we will move to executive session. Thank you. The council adjourned from executive session at 5:52, and we will be moving into work session here momentarily. Please join us in the back. Good evening, everyone. It is 7:30. It is an auspicious occasion when we start on time, and so we're going to do that. So let's. Everyone is present. Everyone's present. So our first item on the regular session is the invocation, and this evening we have Coppell Fire Department Battalion Chief Michael Cody, who will give us the invocation. And then please remain standing. The Coppell Fire Department Honor Guard is here. We'll have them come in, and then we will do our Pledge of Allegiance. So, Chief Michael Cody, please come forward.
Will you please join me for a word of prayer? Heavenly and gracious Father, we come to you tonight asking for your presence during this council meeting. We ask that you guide our thoughts, our hearts, and our minds so that the best decision will be made. And we ask that all our decisions will reflect your compassion and grace. Lord, we give you thanks for the many blessings you've allowed us to have. And we also thank you for the greatest gift of grace, your Son, Jesus Christ. We ask that our sins be forgiven in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
The next item on our agenda is item 7. Consider approval of a proclamation naming the week of May 19th through the 21st, 2019 as Emergency Medical Service Week and authorizing the mayor to sign. Ask Chief Richardson to please come join me up here. Please come. Let's make everyone. So, council, please consider this proclamation. Whereas emergency medical services are a vital public service and is provided by the Coppell Fire Department, whereas the members of the Coppell Fire Department are ready to provide advanced life-saving care to those who need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. Whereas emergency medical services have grown to fill the gap provided by important out-of-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. Whereas emergency medical services systems consist of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. Whereas the members of the emergency medical services team engage in thousands of hours of specialized training, including continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. Whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Therefore, I, Karen Hunt, the mayor of the city of Coppell, do hereby proclaim May 19th through 25th, 2019 as Emergency Medical Services Week. In witness thereof, I have set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Coppell to witness to be affixed this 14th day of May 2019. Council. Councilmember Mays.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve item number 7, a proclamation naming the week of May 19th through the 25th as Emergency Medical Services Week and authorizing the mayor to sign.
Second by Councilmember Brianna Hinojosa-Smith. All in favor?
Long, Hinojosa-Smith, Mays, Roden, Yingling, Matthew. In favor, none opposed, motion carries.
Thank you very much. Chief, I will give you this proclamation, and would you tell us a little bit about what's going on this week, next week?
Yes. So National EMS Week is celebrated during this month every year. It's actually the 45th year. If you can imagine 45 years ago, the differences in the EMS system now. Now we try to concentrate on our educational opportunities that we have, as well as celebrating with our EMS system. Some of the things that we're offering this month, we encourage the public to access all of our social media websites, the social media outlets, and our website. We have opportunities there. We have a whole slew of educational opportunities. It's really easy to register online. We also invite everybody just to swing by, stop by the fire department, visit some of our paramedics, see what they do, ask questions, and if you want to have a formal tour, there's an opportunity there to sign up for that as well. So we encourage everybody to help us celebrate this month. And I promise this was the condensed version of the proclamation.
Thank you for that. The fire department is a critical part of our community, and they step up to the plate, and they are there for people not only when they need the services, but they are also there to lend a helping hand in a lot of different ways, and sometimes just drive the fire truck over to a birthday party to make someone's day. And all of those things put smiles on people's faces in a different way, and I just want to add my appreciation to everything that you guys do. Thank you. You have the next one? Okay. The next item Thank you. Item 8, this is the recognition of the City of Coppell for meeting all of the requirements necessary to be deemed a heart-safe community by the North Central Texas Trauma Regional Advisory Council.
Okay, you go up there, and I'm going to turn around, I guess, so I can talk, so I can explain. So the North Central Texas Council of Governments is a 16-county COG region. Basically, what they have created was what they call a heart-safe community. And it's basically best practices for any kind of a cardiac event in the emergency medical services. So they developed all of these best practice standards. And for the last year, the members of the Coppell Fire Department and our EMS division have been working tirelessly to make sure that we exceeded those minimum standards. And I was proud as the fire chief a few weeks back during their quarterly meeting to accept on the behalf of the city of Coppell to be the 15th city in the state of Texas to earn this designation as a heart-safe community. And so we're very, very proud of that. And basically what it does, it encompasses a lot of different issues. One, starting with our public education, our community. It includes our automatic external defibrillator program, both private and public. It entails our training requirements for our paramedics, our apparatus, our equipment standards, our response times, everything that has to do with a cardiac event. Our medical control director, Dr. Sharon Malone, wanted to be here tonight. She couldn't be here, but she had some comments that she asked me to bring forward. So if you don't mind, we'll share them.
Thank you. My name is Ryan Spencer. I'm one of the EMS, or one of the captains, but I also have the privilege of serving in an EMS role, which is something I've always been very passionate about. So I get to spend a lot of time with Dr. Malone. And if you haven't met her, Dr. Sharon Malone is a very passionate, very energetic woman. She wanted nothing more than to be here today to accept this. So she wouldn't take anything less than us reading a letter that she has written as well. So this is from Dr. Sharon Malone. Dear Mayor and City Council members, I currently serve as the medical director for the Coppell Fire Department. And while I was scheduled to attend the City Council meeting tonight, unfortunately, I had a prior commitment that took me out of the state, making me unavailable to attend. The North Central Texas Trauma Regional Advisory Council designates a community as heart safe in recognition of the efforts made to protect citizens from the effects of heart disease and sudden death. This award recognizes the multidisciplinary approach taken by the city to respond to cardiac emergencies. It is an accomplishment requiring diligence and training for the excellent patient care. The Coppell Fire Department is honored to accept this award. Every citizen in our community should be aware of the tremendous effort made by the Coppell Fire Department to achieve the Heart Safe Community Award. It is my honor to be part of the Coppell Fire Department. This talented, dedicated, and hardworking team is a blessing to our city. You'll be seeing the street signs with the slogan, "In-Track, Heart Safe Community" very soon. Every time anyone sees this signage, realize the efforts and dedication that the Coppell Fire Department has implemented to make certain that every citizen or visitor will receive the immediate life-saving cardiac care. Finally, please congratulate every member of the CFD staff. Each and every member of this department constantly trains and perfects their knowledge of all areas of medical care. Please join me in congratulating them. Signed, Dr. Sharon Malone.
So I'm just going to take just a couple more minutes because I really want to share this with you. Yesterday's mail, I got a letter. And I want to share that with you because I think it validates and helps us understand that our efforts are actually working. So let me read this for you. This is the 1-year anniversary of a cardiac arrest patient we had today. 1-year anniversary. She writes, I am the daughter of Mr. Vinakumar, who was rescued by your team last May after he had a massive cardiac arrest event. My parents were visiting America to see all of our children my brother lives in the city of Coppell, is when this all occurred. We immediately called 911 and on that evening, and your staff arrived at their home within minutes and delivered extraordinary care that included advanced life support measures, cardiac medication, resuscitation efforts, defibrillation, and intubation. She must be part medical trained. after he had suffered this massive cardiac arrest. When he arrived at Baylor Medical Center, he was rushed to the cardiac cath lab where Dr. Height and his team saved his life. After a 2-month recovery, my dad returned home in great health, and we are extremely grateful beyond words that we can ever say of the excellent care that he received from your team. It was to be his 80th birthday, a milestone that we had all planned to celebrate here in Coppell. While our plans did change that evening, it was special nonetheless as we celebrated his life and the fact that he was well and with us. We remember you often and wanted to send you this note earlier. We want you to know at this 1-year anniversary that we know had it not been for you and your paramedics, we would not have made it to the hospital. We all have often wondered who his guardian angels were that night. So last month I called and spoke with Michelle Mockney at the headquarters at the fire department. She was very kind and helpful. She pulled the backlogs and informed me that my dad's angels that night were firefighter John Dabbs, Brandon Jones, James Pierce, Rob Fisk, Kyle Silk, raise your hand, okay, that guy right there, and his captain, Brad Smith. You will forever be in our thoughts for giving him a second life. They say the universe always has our back, and we believe you all had my dad's back that night. Thank you for all of your hard work. In eternal gratitude, Sonia Rajana. And so that the timing on receiving that, I just want them to know that the efforts that they've been doing really were making a difference. And so what I'd like to do tonight is the signage that Dr. Malone was talking about is just right here. And I'll let Brian hold this for a minute. It says, Heart Safe Community, recognized by this. We're one of only 15 cities in the state of Texas that are permitted to put this at the entrance of our communities if we choose to do so. We have the signs, and we'll decide if we want to display that or not. So basically what it's saying is if you're going to have a heart attack, it's not a bad place to have one. Yeah, so. That's right, yeah. So I do want to say thank you to our community and to all of our elected officials who continue to support the fire department. Without the support, we wouldn't be able to provide these level of services that we're all proud to do. So thank you all very much.
Thank you again for everything that you do. One of the things that is always top of mind when I think of our emergency services is you strive to be better and better all the time, and we can't thank you enough. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is citizens' appearance. We have one individual that has signed up to speak, and that is Kelly Stokes. Please come forward. Please state your name and address for the record, and then you've got 3 minutes to say whatever you want to say. And if you need longer than that, just let us know.
Alrighty, thank you. Well, I'm so glad that I got to be here tonight. Again, my name's Kelly Stokes. I live at 516 Hunters Ridge here in Coppell. I've lived in Coppell for 24 years. And I'm here on another note, but I'm glad tonight was the night I chose to come and do this because those gentlemen, I had to call 2 weeks ago for an emergency for my mother. And they came and took amazing care of her, who she's doing quite fine now. But it's just the irony that I would be here this evening to watch them receive this, and that they were called. It's the first time I've lived here for 24 years. I've never had to call 911, and I had to call 2 weeks ago, and they gave me amazing care. So I'm very grateful for what they did for my mother. So on a different note, Mayor and Council, I'm here tonight on behalf of the Children's Advocacy Center of Denton County. I sit on the board for the Advocacy Center, and I've sat on that board for a number of years. And I'm here to just simply give you an extended thank you for your support, for all the efforts that we put forth for sexual child abuse. And that's a hard topic. It's a difficult topic, and you continue to support our Advocacy Center. So I'm here just to kind of read some statistics to you, the growth and what we're experiencing, and to let you know that your support is very much appreciated and needed as well. So Again, like I said, I'm here on behalf of the Advocacy Center, and I sit on the board. It is, again, difficult to talk about the subject of child abuse. Statistically, 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 4 girls will be sexually abused before their 18th birthday. That's a hard statistic for me to swallow. My daughter just turned 18 a few weeks ago, and sadly, Denton County is no exception. Neither is Coppell, and our services extend into, because we're right on the border, our services extend over here to Coppell. So 1,096 children came to our advocacy center just last year to tell their story about abuse that had happened in their life. The purpose of the Advocacy Center is to coordinate the investigation and prosecution of severe child abuse cases and provide the mental health services to families to restore a child's potential in the face of the crime and abuse. In summary, we simply ensure that children in our area find safety, justice, and healing when they face this kind of abuse. And so how do we do this exactly? We work closely with the law enforcement. And we have worked with the Coppell Police Department, and we, of course, want to always thank them for their support and bringing those cases to us and the professionalism and manner in which they do that. Along with the Coppell PD, we bring together CPS, the District Attorney's Office, sexual assault nurse examiners, juvenile probation, and all of our staff alone. So what we do is try to bring that all under one roof so a child doesn't have to go to all those different places and have that experience over and over again. They can come to one spot, have the where they're sharing their story one time, and we try to minimize it through the efforts of the Advocacy Center. So this multidisciplinary team approach under one roof is many reasons that our community is safer, because back in 1997, when we first opened the doors to the Advocacy Center, we had a conviction rate of 8%. Last year alone, on all cases that were indicted, we had a 100% conviction rate. So you can see that the Advocacy Center makes a huge difference in the community and making sure that we bring these people to justice. Working as a collaborative team is also more beneficial to the detectives who investigate these cases. I'm confident you could reach out to the Coppell Police Department and they could share in this and how this helps, that the resource of the Advocacy Center goes a long way in helping these type of cases. Now, to help the victims of abuse heal from trauma, we are one of the largest mental health providers as well in the area. Last year alone, we provided over 13,000 therapy sessions to child victims alone and also to their families. All the services are offered to the families in both English and Spanish also, and they're all free of charge. And so that's why the support of the cities and the community go so far as to help us in being able to offer these services at no charge to the population. Coppell, like I said, has always been a supporter of the Advocacy Center, and we just are grateful and appreciative of this support for our center. In the area, Denton County, as you know, and we butt right up against it, is one of the fastest growing counties in the United States. We saw a 35% increase in the number of interviews that we had to do last year alone, which is a significant amount of increase. And over the past 2 years, we've had a 70% jump of interviews that we're having to do at the Advocacy Center. And we attribute a lot of this to education and to the increased awareness. So the demand, like I said, of our services has increased because of strengthened laws, but also because of awareness that's come because of the coverage of what's happened with the Catholic Church, the Southern Baptist churches, and the Olympic gymnastics scandal alone. So all those raise the awareness in the community, which brings forth more of the victims. So I want to also share that this year we will be opening our expanded office in Louisville, and we have a second satellite office that we have up in Denton proper as well. And so Coppell like I want to share why Coppell, we're Denton County. Well, Coppell brought 16 cases to the Advocacy Center last year. And those 16 children received 210 separate services and their family as well. And so, we really are the experts in the area. And so that's where these cases are going to be brought to us. And so, like I said, I simply wanted to come here tonight to just thank you for your continued support of the Advocacy Center. We'd welcome any of you to come and take a tour, so you have a little bit more knowledge around what is offered, and we'd be more than happy to open the doors and give you that tour. But again, just thank you for your continued support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No one else has signed up to speak, so the next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. These items, we have items A through F. They are usually routine in nature and either have been previously approved by council or have been approved through the budget. We have items A through F. We did want to have a little additional discussion about item F, so Vicki Chavetta is here to just give us a summary of consider approval of a resolution regarding Encore's filing for their second distribution cost recovery factor rate case on April 8th.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for
in
coming.
essence, this resolution is to deny an application by Encore for a rate increase in electric service. So do you want me to go further into what the resolution has in it, or just okay?
Sorry, what they were asking for.
Sure. They're asking for an approval for a distribution cost recovery factor. What they want is an increase in revenues of $29,433,804. Because we are a city that's part of the steering committee of cities served by Encore, we have the jurisdiction to ask for a review of this filing and to ask that this particular application be denied. So that is what the resolution is for, is to follow through with denying the resolution or denying the application so that it can be reviewed for filing.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments regarding this item or any other item on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion. Councilmember Mays.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve consent agenda items 10A through 10F.
Second by Councilmember Matthew. All in favor?
Long, Hinojosa, Smith, Mays, Roden, Yingling Hill, Matthew, excuse me, in favor. None opposed. The motion carries.
Okay, that's the end of the consent agenda. Item 11 is a public hearing, and we have Mary Perrone-Boswell here as a senior planner to help us. I will open the public hearing and ask you to read it into the record.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. This evening, item 11 is public hearing. Consider approval of zone change to S-1244R-LI special use permit revised to approve a revised site and landscape plans and building elevations for the expansion of the Rolling Oaks Memorial Center, including buildings, plots, and mausoleum. So just to give you a brief background, I'm sure you've seen this several times. The city of Coppell acquired this property in purple in the year 2000, and the feasibility study was done in 2004. In 2008, the property was rezoned to a special use permit to allow for a municipal cemetery with ancillary uses. In this first phase, we did plat the property into Lot 1, and with this first phase, the columbarium, the funeral home, and pavilion and burial areas were established. In 2009, This property was replatted, separating the funeral home from the other burial sites. So in 2016, it was recommended that the entire site be reevaluated, and from that reevaluation, a new concept master plan was established, which is what you see on the screen currently. So this master plan took into account future phases, amenities, and full build-out of the site. In April of this year, staff did take this to Planning and Zoning Commission. So a companion item to this request is the replatting of the property. So we have lots 1R and 3, Block A, which are identified in yellow, hard to see on your screen, apologize, and the additional unplatted piece of property to the east. So this will total approximately 27.7 acres, which is what is for consideration this evening as part of your special use permit request. So phase one essentially is everything that is out there currently. So the funeral home, the columbarium, the other burial sites, pavilion, children's garden. So what we're looking at this evening is a phase two site plan. So that is identified in the orange on the left-hand side here. So with the phase two construction, we're looking at a pond at the lower part of your screen here. We're looking at a new office and maintenance facility, mausoleum, and additional crypt areas, expansion of the children's garden, which will include additional landscaping and trees, boulders, walking path, and in addition to pavilion areas scattered throughout the site. So we've got one over here, here, and down here. The ultimate build-out, which will happen, I guess, when deemed necessary, is identified on the right-hand side here. So what we have for future consideration is a chapel mausoleum, as well as other mausoleum structures and other crypts. Sorry, I failed to mention on phase two, we also have the expansion of the access road throughout the site and fire lane throughout the site. So that is proposed with this phase. Just to give you an overview of the landscaping of this site, you can take a look and see the site is quite heavily treed, and staff worked with the consultant to preserve as much of the treed area as possible as to maintain a buffer along the eastern perimeter of the site. Now, everything identified in green is areas that will be used for new burial sites. So while we are taking out trees to provide these burial sites, we are also putting back landscaping and a lot of trees to make up for that. In addition, there are trees on site currently that, if they are able to preserve them, they try to preserve them. So along the northern perimeter of the site, we do have a evergreen hedge that is being proposed along the access roads and fire lane here to the north. We are proposing to plant additional trees, so when you're driving through it, it will look like a tree-lined street. Wherever the other additional amenities are, like the mausoleum, they will have additional landscaping on them as well. With also down here, with the office and the maintenance facility, they're proposing trees and landscaping in addition to wood fence to provide screening for that maintenance yard for the cemetery. In terms of elevations for the different buildings that are being proposed, the buildings will match and be complementary to what's already out there. So we'll have the brick, the stone, cast stone accents, standing seam metal roof with gutters and downspouts, Some of the pavilion areas will have a wall, while others will remain rather open. One of the other buildings that is being proposed is the mausoleum, which essentially is a above-ground burial option. So this is not a building that is accessible to go inside. This is basically accessible from the outside. Again, it'll have the matching brick, stone. With this type of building, the actual burial spots will have a granite tombstone up front that you can put your inscription on. One of the other buildings being constructed is the office and maintenance shop. Currently, staff offices out of the columbarium building. So this is a much needed facility. This will move them out of the columbarium into their own building. It'll provide them office space, conference room space, and other workspace. Now, we did send out notification, 7 within 200 feet, another 45 within 800 feet. We received no replies from those. We did receive one reply from someone who was about 1,000 feet away, and one phone call of someone who was in favor. The Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval of S-1244R LI Rolling Oaks Memorial Center expansion with the following conditions: that there may be additional comments generated during the engineering review. That is the end of my presentation. We do have additional staff and the consultant here if you have questions.
Thank you very much. We have had several conversations about this. This is a public hearing. No one has signed up to speak. So I will turn it over to the council. Do you have any questions and or comments? Hearing none, Councilmember Roden.
Thank you, Mayor. Move to close the public hearing and approve item 11.
Second by Councilmember Yingling. All in favor?
Long, Kenosa, Smith, Mays, Roden, Yingling, Matthew. In favor, none opposed. The motion carries.
Thank you very much. The next item 12, is a sad event, and very active member of our community has moved away, and he was on the Parks and Recreation Board. So item 12 is to consider the acceptance of the resignation of Earl Nesbitt from the Parks and Recreation Board and move the existing alternate member, Brian Olson, into the regular role, the role of a regular member for the remainder of the unexpired term. And we have Brad Reed here. Do you have any additional comments?
No, ma'am, but I'm available to answer questions if there are.
Okay. Council members, any comments or questions? Sad faces. I will entertain a motion. Councilmember Mays.
I was originally going to ask if we declined to approve this, if we could make him stay, but I decided that would be a little too far-reaching. With a sad heart, I move to approve item number 12.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Long. All in favor?
Long, Kenosa, Smith, Mays, Roden, Yingling, Matthew. In favor, none opposed. The motion carries.
And I guess we should be congratulating Brian Olson, so please send our congratulations to him as well. Item 13, consider approval of an award of a professional services agreement with Teague, Knoll, and Perkins in the amount of $130,000 for the feasibility study to determine the course of action to repair for repairs to Grapevine Springs Park Canal and Wall as budgeted, and authorizing the city manager to sign all necessary documents. And we have Mr. Elias here he's the Parks Project Manager. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good evening. I'm here tonight to present some problems that we're having at Grapevine Springs Park. I would like to give a brief history of the park. It's a very unique park. Then I'm going to show a project that the Parks Department had started about 3 or 4 years ago, and we ended up having to stop it because of some additional repairs that are needed. At that point, I'll go through the feasibility study, and then I'll wrap it up with our what's coming next. So this is the location of Grapevine Springs Park. For those that have not been there, it's south of Bethel Road and west of Denton Tap. It sits just to the east of our senior center and the City of Coppell Service Center. These are the boundaries of it. It's about a 17-acre park. The majority of it is just Grapevine Creek, but there is a significant area that has a lot of historic value to it. And so I'd like to start by just giving a brief history of the park. It's very unique. These are a couple of quotes I took directly from the Dallas County website when referring to the Grapevine Springs Park. Grapevine Springs is one of the most historic preserves in the county's open space system. While today it's completely surrounded by urban development, in 1843 it was remote wilderness, and it's where Sam Houston camped while he negotiated a peace treaty with the local Native Americans. A historic tree with a state history marker is in the park. This is the tree where Sam Houston camped under while he was in that area in the early 1800s. The tree is estimated to be in excess of 300 years old. In 1936, the Works Progress Administration, also known as the WPA, turned the area into a public park and built the rock line channels, the walls, the flumes, the bridge abutments, and the paths that still exist today. The WPA was an order from President Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1935. It was part of a New Deal plan to lift the country out of the Great Depression. Sometime in the 1940s, the property ceased being a public park and became privately owned. In 1991, the Baptist Foundation of Texas graciously donated the property to Dallas County, who, with the help of the City of Coppell, restored the park and reopened it to the public. In 1994, the City of Coppell signed an open space use agreement with Dallas County. Once the initial installation and restoration work was completed, which included clearing of growth and restoration of the parkland, it also included 2 pedestrian bridges and some erosion control measures on the south side of the park. About $100,000 worth of work was done by the county. At that time, the city agreed to maintain the park structures, improvements, and facilities, including the flumes, parking lot, walls, bridges, and dam, etc. There's also a statement in the agreement that reads, "In the event of a substantial damage caused by an act of God, the city may ask the county to consider funding some of the repair cost." The City of Coppell has agreed to maintain this preserve for a period not to exceed 99 years. So basically, we have a $1 lease on the park for 99 years, and the city is responsible for the maintenance of the park. In 2015, the City of Coppell contracted with Tignall Perkins to design and engineer canal dredging and repairs to the historic walls along the canal. Due to the historic nature of the park, a cultural resource survey and an antiquities permit were required for the project. This map that I'm showing here shows the original scope of that project in 2015. The area in yellow is the canal. This is where we were going to dredge the canal. There's a lot of silt that has filled in it over the years. We were going to dredge the canal. These areas in pink along the edge of the canal were the areas that we were going to do repairs to the historic walls. The area in green was going to be access egress for the dredging. That's how we were going to get the dump trucks and equipment down into the park to haul off the spoils. And then the red perimeter is the boundary of where we did the cultural resources survey and the antiquities permit. So we started working on this project in 2015, did the permitting. We're just about to be ready to finalize construction documents to go to bid. And in early 2016, we had a diversion wall failure on the south side of the park. So this is the area we're talking about. Let me back up just 1 second. So this is the boundary of the studies that we did, this is where the wall failure is at. It's just outside that boundary that we had done the studies on. So a diversion wall basically was installed as a part of that 1994 work that was done by the county. The purpose of the diversion wall was to deflect water from Grapevine Creek into the canal system. It would flow through the canal and then simply go right back into the creek on the other side of the park. This wall failed in 2016. Basically put our project on hold because it's essential to have water movement through this canal. Otherwise, we struggle with water quality issues, algae growth, stagnant water, mosquitoes, concerns for West Nile, Zika, all the stuff that comes with standing stagnant water. So when the wall failed, we did a quick contract amendment with Tignall Perkins to do some additional surveying to see if there was a simple solution to getting water through the canal. We basically did some surveying out here in the area of the failed diversion wall, and we also did some surveying over here in this part of it. There's a historic spillway dam in that area. We were hoping to be able to maybe lower the level, the bottom of the canal, and just get natural flow from the creek without the need of a diversion wall. Based on the surveying and some site grades that were shot out there. In order to do that, we would have had to remove the historic dam that was built in the 1930s, and so that created a whole nother set of logistical issues. So we backed away from that. We put the project on hold as we tried to determine what needed to be done, and ultimately we lost funding for the project in 2017. So the project's been on hold for almost 2 years. This is a close-up look of what the failed diversion wall looks like. This, again, was installed by the county in 1994 per our agreement. What I would say about this photo is if you look at this line right here, there's basically a curb that was finished out. That used to be the bottom or the grade of the creek bottom. Over the years since this wall has been installed, this creek bottom is all is comprised of shale. It's been eroding away for the last 20 some years to where you can see we've lost almost 3 feet from the creek bottom. It's my guesstimate that this wall was not engineered to be a standing wall. It was engineered to be basically below grade and just a small amount, maybe 6 to 8 inches above grade. With the erosion, there was nothing there to support the wall, so the wall eventually gave out. So in 2018, we got back with Tignall Perkins. We asked them to give us a proposal to perform a feasibility study so that we could determine what all would need to take place to try to get water to flow through our canal. In 2018, we also, myself, and the Director of Parks and Recreation, Brad Reed, and the Assistant Director, Guy McLean, and myself all went down to meet with Dallas County in their offices to make them aware of the concerns we had in the park, some of the infrastructure problems that we were having. Per the agreement, as I spoke earlier, there is verbiage in there that the city can ask for help if it's an act of God or a major repair needs to be done. We can request support from Dallas County. That's why we went down there to meet them. This was in December of 2018. We also did a follow-up meeting with Dallas County in April of 2019, earlier this spring. We met them on site in the park this time to show them what's going on, to let them know that we would like to move forward with the feasibility study to try to determine what needs to be done, but that we probably are going to need some support here. We had in our original project where we were going to dredge the canal and do the wall repairs, we had $300,000 in our CRDC budget for that project. When the project got put on hold, we lost the funding for a couple years. We got the funding back this year, so that's why we kind of got back with Tignall Perkins to get this feasibility study moving. crossing. This is what the feasibility study will do for us. It's aimed at evaluating and recommending a course of action to get to either reconstruct the failed diversion wall or provide another mechanism by which we can get water flow into the canal. In order to do the work in the area, it will require additional geotechnical work. It will also require additional environmental and archaeological investigations in the area. We'll also have to get with the Texas Historical Commission and revise our permit that we had already done with them for the previous project. Once we determine which course of action to take, Tignall Perkins will then develop construction documents for us and help us with construction administration for the project. They'll come out and do some site visits to make sure it's being installed per plan. This will also give us a chance to give Dallas County some more details and potential estimates on what we need to do in the park. So the next steps from tonight, we would, if it's council's desire, we would award the feasibility study. We anticipate the feasibility study to take about 6 to 8 weeks to do the field work. Then city staff, Parks Department, as well as our engineering department will meet with Tignall Perkins to review the alternatives and the costs associated with them. We will then schedule a meeting with Dallas County and do the same thing, review the alternatives, and we'll also discuss with Dallas County potential funding support that they can give us. At that point, we'll come back to City Council and give you all an update and move forward from there in bidding the project and constructing it. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Thank you very much. We did talk about this in work session. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion. Mayor Pro Tem Long.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I'd like to approve item 13.
Second by Councilmember Roden. All in favor?
Long, Kenosis, Smith, Mays, Roden, Yingling, Matthew. In favor? None opposed. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Elias. Item 14, consider approval of change order number 3 to the Hunterwood Park Bank Stabilization and Trail Project in the amount of $548,571.70 as provided by the CRDC funds and authorizing the city manager to sign all necessary documents. Welcome, Mr. Garza.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you. Yes, item 14, change order for Hunterwood Park Bank Stabilization Project. Just to remind you or give you recollection, the project is on city-owned property in a park, a city park, over on the northeast corner behind Coppell, north of Bethel Road and east of Coppell Road. This is the area of the Hunterwood Park where we have a bank stabilization project currently ongoing. The majority of the erosion is happening within the bends of the creek. And so, a little bit of history. We awarded the design to the consultant in 2017 to begin design. They completed their design in about August of 2018. And by the time we went to award the project to the contractor in October of 2018, we had seen additional significant erosion that was not there during the design. This area that is now falling into the creek was stable at the time of the design. Between September and October, we had over 28 inches of rain in those 2 months. Average rainfall for those 2 months combined is about 6 inches. To give you some perspective, since 1899, 120 years, we've had 2 of the wettest years on record in the last 4 years. The number one, the wettest year on record was 2015, if you recall. The second wettest year on record was 2018. So just in the last 4 years, we've never seen this amount of rain since 1899 when they started collecting rainfall events. So just to put in perspective, 28 inches in 2 months is a lot of rain. The project began on November 26th. Since then, we've had 20 inches of rain. And so the rain has not stopped. The erosion has not stopped. The area that has been compromised since the design was complete is continuing to erode. There's other smaller areas that are continuing to erode with trees falling down. So again, there's a new area that was stable during the design that has fallen. And what really is happening is, with all the additional rain that we're getting, the flow through the creek is compromising the trees. The trees are falling. They're pulling the banks with them. As they fall, they may knock over another tree or make another tree weak, and then they continue. It's a domino effect with the trees pulling the banks down with them. So this change order does include additional materials for stabilization. Again, at the time we were already discussing the amendment for the additional design before we awarded it. And so with every rain event, the additional trees become compromised and they continue to fall. This new area that has eroded is more than half of the overall project combined. So if you add up all the areas that we are working on with the original design, this area is about a little bit more than half of those areas combined. This change order is for the additional work and materials related to the force majeure conditions to stabilize this new area. The total cost of this change order is $548,571.70. Now, this change order is 25% more than the original cost, which normally requires by law to rebid this scope of work. Due to the nature that it was an act of God that created the additional scope of this damage, City Council does have the authority to be able to approve this change order and award to the contract. Every day that we receive significant rain, we continue to see additional areas of erosion. This dollar amount does include the area that we need to stabilize, the new area. It does include areas that where we've done erosion protection, but that area has increased from the additional rains, and then there is some small contingency for future events that may occur by the time we get completed. Just to show you what I'm talking about here, this is the blue line is the area of the creek where it was when it was originally designed. From September, October, all this material, this bank that was here, has fallen in, and the creek has moved considerably to the south towards these residential homes here. Linear footage-wise, it's about 40 feet of bank that has fallen down, and it's about a 17-foot drop. So it's a considerable amount of material that has fallen and traveled downstream in the creek. And this is not the only creek that we're seeing this, and it's across the Metroplex. Just with the amount of rain we've had in the last year is causing a lot of these issues. Here's a couple of pictures. If you can see my cursor on the left picture, there's some barricades there for reference. And then up on the right picture, here's those same barricades. So this material, this bank used to be out here. And so this all used to be filled in with material, and with these trees falling, the erosion, the banks failing, all that material has fallen in and is washed downstream. This was that picture was taken in October. This one was taken in February of 2018. Here's upper left corner of the picture. There's the barricades for reference, the same barricades that were there, and in this right picture, barricades here. So you can see this bank, this top of bank, used to be out in this area here. So all this material has fallen in and washed down, and then same thing going back this other direction here. So our plan is to come in here, realign the channel to where it should be, and then fill this area in at an appropriate slope with the materials needed to stabilize using the vegetation and the erosion control matting that we are using. And so if you look at this is that area. So this entire area that has failed is a little bit more than half than these other areas combined. And then the additional material that I spoke about, so if you look at these plans, it's hard to see, but we've extended the limits. These were the limits that were originally designed. Since the rain, since the project started, some of these limits have extended, and so that's the need for the additional material for some of these other areas. This is kind of what it looks like. These are some of the areas that are already complete. This is the erosion control matting that we've placed. It's turf matting. It's a little bit it's stronger than your typical erosion control. There's soil anchors that have been injected into the ground to stabilize, and then we come back and plant live material, live plants, trees and bushes, and that sort of thing that grow in these types of environments all along. So once it's done, it's complete. This area will look like it's a natural trail, natural park area again. Right now it looks pretty bare, but it'll grow back and it'll stabilize those banks. So with this, the Public Works Department recommends moving forward with the approval of this change order to prevent delaying the project and potential any further erosion and damage. As I said, if typically you would go back out to bid. If we were to go back out to bid, the new contractor that would win this bid would assume liability of the existing work that's been done already, which drives up the cost of the change order. So there's really no good estimate of what this could cost if we were to go back out to bid. So the Public Works Department recommends approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Mays.
Mayor, Mike, could you go back about 4 or 5 slides to the diagram that showed the color? That one. Is the creek actually infringing on private property there, or is that?
Not yet. No, we're about 10 feet from their fence.
So are we going to be in time to save that?
Yes. We if we can move forward, the contractor is ready to get started tomorrow. If this gets approved, they're ready to get started tomorrow, and that's the area where they're moving forward on.
Is that dotted line then the easement?
There is a easement back there. It doesn't. This is not drawn to scale, so it's not quite that far.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Yingling.
Thank you. Quick question on the stabilization. How long do they anticipate that to hold? The repairs.
We would like the repairs to hold forever.
Okay. Is there a lifespan on it, or?
So what we've asked the question, and the biggest key is the vegetation. Once the vegetation is established, the earth anchors are 30 to 50 year life expectancy, but if the vegetation it takes, they expect 50 to 100 years for it to stabilize the creek. The other thing, what happens, these it's hard to see, but these structures that go across the creek, you'll see them every so often. These are grade control structures. So what that does is it prevents the cutting of the creek. So it stabilizes the creek. So if there is the channelization of a creek, that over time there's 5 stages, 2 of them the same, 1 and 5 are the same, they're stable. So over time the creeks change, they incise, they cut, they widen. And so what those grade control structures do is they keep the creek in stage 1, which is a stable stage. And so the anticipation for it not to move into the stage 2 and 3, which is what we don't want to happen, is that's what those are there for, so that the creek will stay stable throughout its life.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion. Councilmember Mays.
Mayor, I move to approve item number 14.
Second by Councilmember Matthew. All in favor?
Long, Keno, Smith, Mays, Roden, Yingling, Matthew in favor. None opposed. The motion carries.
Thank you very much. Great job. Item 15, City Manager Reports, Project Updates, and Future Agendas.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, an update on several projects. Paving on Freeport begins this Thursday night. The work is going to be done at night to help offset some of the impact on traffic. So that begins this Thursday night. The fence on Allen Park is under construction. So if you go by over in that area, you'll see them working. I mentioned earlier that the panels for Sandy Lake, so much like we've done, I guess that was probably about 4 years ago, maybe 5, where we have some failures along Sandy Lake. We're going in and replacing those panels. That'll start after school is out. If you haven't been by the Coppell Arts Center, you should go by. They have started going vertical, and it's pretty impressive to see that work being done. Parkway, the shift on Parkway to the south side, so the north side will be completely closed off between now and June 1st while they do some work, so that should be happening pretty soon. And here in a few minutes, I'm getting ready to go get on a plane because we have testimony tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for Senate Bill 941. That's our street sales and use tax, Senate Bill 941. Hopefully we'll be able to be successful tomorrow because it has already passed the Senate. So this is before the House Committee of Ways and Means. Mayor, that's all I have to report.
Thank you very much. And also thank you for making that trip. Any questions for the city manager? Hearing none. Item 16, mayor and council reports. We do have an event this weekend to support the arts in Coppell. The Coppell Arts Council is doing the Art Sip and Stroll. It's their annual fundraiser, which will be this Friday, May 17th from 6 to 10 p.m. The stroll will begin at Grapevine Springs Senior and Community Center and end in Old Town. Enjoy the new public art installations, musical performance, temporary art exhibitions, and opportunities to meet some of the artists for the public art. It's always a fun event, so if you have the time, please join us. I believe you can get the tickets online. And they are more expensive at the door. Just an FYI. Any public service announcements? Hearing none. There was no necessary action from executive committee, and that means that as of 8:35, there is no business to come before this, any more business to come before the council. We are adjourned. Minutes to spare.